Hello, and welcome to Past Six Productions Paranormal Plus podcast. Tonight, UFOs and aliens. We have a special guest with us, Mr. Stanley, and he will be telling his encounter of what he's seen of UFO. Also, I will be telling my personal encounter that I had back a few years ago. As you will probably realize that mine and his encounters are similar in so many ways.
I think they're more similar than either one of y'all even know at this point. I know. If time persists, I'm going to tell you about a vision I had of an alien abduction. That happened right here on this land we're at right now.
Yeah.
If time persists. If not, we can do it another episode.
Well, one thing I would like to point out is that UFOs it's not something that has just come about. You know, there's even hieroglyphics on the walls inside the pyramids of what looks to be some type of spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
And people can argue, oh, no, that's not what that is. But when I looked at it, and I took a look at it today, it resembled some type of spacecraft.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's thousands of years old,
Yeah.
that hieroglyphic. So, and if those people thought that it was something to put in writing on the wall, describes the hieroglyphics in the pyramids, then I feel like, there's something to it.
Yeah.
On modern time, probably one of the most famous sightings was when Kenneth Arnold, I think it was 1947, I may be a little off on the year, he saw at Mount Rainier up in Washington 9 fast-moving objects. And when he described it to the newspaper, he said that it was a crescent shape. It was like
What's a crescent shape?
the stealth bomber kind of look.
Oh, okay.
So that would be a crescent shape.
Yeah.
The term flying saucer also came from him, because when he was describing it to the newspaper, he said they moved like a saucer skipping across the water.
I remember hearing that. Yeah.
And the newspaper took it and made it flying saucers.
Mm-hmm.
So then everybody thought they were round flying saucers,
Yeah.
like a pie pan.
Yeah.
But that's not what he's seen, and that's not what he told them.
Yeah.
That's not what I seen. And I know other people have reported seeing similar looking things. But mine, what I saw wasn't even crescent looking.
Yeah.
It was box.
Yeah.
It was more like a ship on the ocean shape. The aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
So that's what I seen. Now, we know in 1948, the U.S. Air Force, they would open Project Blue Book,
Mm-hmm.
where they went to investigate UFOs or UAPs.
Yeah.
They didn't call them UFOs because, by definition, a UFO, you could go outside and look up in the sky and see something flying, flashing lights.
Yeah.
You can't identify that.
Yeah.
So that's a UFO.
Yeah.
What they went into was UAPs,
Yeah. Well, that's more.
unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference there. Now, this year, May, Congress met on UAPs. They said there have been over 400 sightings by the United States military of UAPs in U.S.'s airspace,
Yeah.
and it's become a direct threat to the United States security. So they're wanting more money put into the funds to investigate what these things are that's zipping by our fastest jets,
Yeah.
like they're sitting still. And I know somebody said, "Oh, it's drones don't move that fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drones don't move faster than an F-16."
Yeah.
So Yeah.
So start from that night. From that night we talked about. Tell us what you saw that.
The neighbor came over. He's a younger guy. He's about 23, 24 years old. He come over and he said, "Is there supposed to be some type of meteor shower tonight?" And of course, I'm thinking meteor shower just be cool for Jalen to see.
Yeah.
And if y'all don't know, Jalen's my son. He's 15 years old now, but it was probably 12, 13 at the time. And we walk outside. You have a recording of this.
Yeah.
And you'll probably play it for our audience later in the show. But I go outside and I look in the direction that Dakota points. He said, "There, see that object in the sky?" And probably 3 football fields away was this bright glowing yellow ball. And I'm looking at this bright glowing yellow ball, and it it goes to nothing, and it like disappeared. And I said, well, whatever it is gone.
And this is the photo you took that night.
That is the photo I took that night of the object. That's when it was over the trees.
Now let me ask you this: is this clouds? Was the clouds broken up that night?
No, that is probably enhancement, where you're taking a picture in complete darkness.
But you definitely see a light source in that darkness.
We see a light source in the picture, and we tried to bring it out more. So we're pointing at this, and at this time, it's growing bigger, and I realize it's coming toward us. So I go into my phone, and I turn on the video, and I start video recording.
Okay.
I say, I don't know if you can see this because it's dark outside, and I'm describing this yellow ball is coming toward us, and I believe Dakota said it just went supersonic, and I said, no, that's not it. I said that came from over toward Valdosta. So I'm thinking if something's gone supersonic, the Air Force Base there just sent out jets.
Moody, right? Isn't it called Moody Air Force Base?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. So you want to go ahead and listen to this track now?
Yeah, we can go ahead and listen to this track because it's going to be the definite what happened that night. That ain't Sonic. I don't know if y'all can see this. That's a UFO right overhead. All right, this thing started out as a bright yellow light right above the tree line, right over here. Probably can't see it because it's pitch black. There's a haze now coming over us. Okay. And as you probably heard in the video clip, as it's passing over us, the size of the trailer is 28 by 64, and it goes directly above us. At night, there's no depth perception there, so you can't tell how far away the object is. It looked like it was just over top of us, but it also looked to be about 4 times the size of the trailer. Yeah. And it had lights on it, giving me the definition that it was square in shape, like a battleship, like a aircraft carrier, flying over top of us. And as it's passing over, this fog starts rolling in, and I said, I remember Dakota saying. It disappeared, and I said, there's a mist rolling in. There's a mist.
So there was no mist prior?
There was no mist prior.
and then it just comes in.
And it just comes in. Now, as far as I can remember, I don't remember hearing anything else with the jets or jet propulsion. There was no sound coming from this thing.
Yeah.
At all. No sound. Whatever the sound was coming from whatever left toward Valdosta. And you do hear, if you listen real close, you'll boom, and the sound barrier
Yeah.
being broken. I did contact MUFON because a friend of mine, David, we've ran in and out of houses and places investigating paranormal events. Our main thing was spirits and ghosts. This was something that I have never experienced before. I had heard people from around here seeing, experiencing UFOs or UAPs. This was a UAP because it wasn't just a flying object. It was something that was coming over us that you couldn't identify as a flying object, but it had no motor sound. It had no jets propulsion. It had no buzzing sounds like copter. It couldn't have been none of that. It couldn't have been a drone. It was way too big to be a drone.
Yeah.
And it was moving. It was like it was hovering, just moving slowly. So
Did you ever get the feeling like maybe it was scanning the ground for something?
I don't know what. I can't remember what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I know what I was saying, and it's a good thing you could edit a little bit because if you hadn't to cut it out, there would have been bleep, bleep in there.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was saying. Because I was freaking out.
Yeah.
I was freaking out.
It happens all your senses.
Yeah, I know some people say, well, I can't believe in stuff like that.
Well,
I didn't either. I didn't either. You know who my brother is, and he'll tell you that these things exist. So I always thought he was a little off his rocker, and then
Talking about Matt?
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, Matt's definitely off his rocker.
Hopefully Matt will watch this and he'll get a good laugh.
So now, was this thing over your area with your laser tag?
Yes.
It was over that area.
Yeah. Well, it went straight over the property,
Okay.
and there's over 7 acres there, and it moved as it cleared the oak trees that are that heads up the laser tag area down there. That's when this mist just comes bowling in.
From what direction do you think that mist came in from?
It'd be a south.
Does it come in from the airplanes coming through, you think? Or did it come from the direction that the UFO was going?
It was after this thing, and it may have been the excitement of. I no longer paid attention to what was going on.
That might have been the mist's purpose.
Yeah.
You know?
They was for camouflaging or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe to make you forget what you just saw.
Could be.
I don't know either. It's all speculation.
I don't buy into that part of it. I just know that I didn't think about jets anymore. I was just focused on this thing. I wasn't caring what I was hearing off in the distance. I was focusing on this thing and what it was doing. I mean, my 12-year-old son was out there with me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Dakota and his wife. 4 witnesses right there.
Yeah.
That can sit there and say, yeah, we all seen this. This happened.
Okay.
And like I said, a friend of mine, a mentor, put me in touch with MUFON.
Now tell us what MUFON is.
MUFON is an organization that studies UFO activity.
So they're pro UFO sightings.
They are.
Yeah.
They don't they don't run around saying UFO. They are trying to get scientific evidence that they exist, and they investigate every sighting that, you know, if somebody calls in. In this case, the guy that I talked to, he was quick to say, there was no jet scrambled that night in question.
Yeah.
And he goes, and nobody else has reported any sightings. There was nothing on radar to indicate there was any objects flying over that night. And you know, somebody said, well, he may have been a person put in place to tell me that.
Like a misinformant?
A misinformant.
Yeah.
To make me think.
You never know how deep it goes.
Because, you know, the people that were there.
Power on.
Well, all right then.
Okay. So the people that were there, when I told them, they was like, no, we know what we saw.
Right.
And we were out there with you. We called you out. And
Right.
you came out and you were blown away by what you were seeing.
So let's look at some more pictures here of what you captured that night. Let's have you kind of give us a description of what we're looking at. This is labeled UFO 1, and it's extremely big. Hang on, guys. Let me move that down a lot. I don't know why I did that.
That's probably the first picture I took. And there it's more of a ball.
Yeah.
Ball shape.
Well,
Like I said, when I took this picture, it was probably 3/4 of a mile away from me.
Yo, look at the light source coming off of this, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it.
Like, how bright is that? It looks like the moon is so bright.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, as you can tell by the picture itself, there was no moonlight that night, or we would have had a better picture.
Yeah.
So now I can't go back and tell you for sure what phase the moon was in, because I don't even remember. I don't remember what month this was taken in.
Yeah.
So all I know is I captured images and a video.
Okay, and then we have this one, which is my
Yeah,
personal favorite.
That's when it's getting closer, and that's going to give you more the appearance of the crescent
Yeah.
shape that other people have explained, but it changes as it's passing over.
So you're saying the shape of this object changes
yes,
as it's moving?
it
It morphs.
well, I can't say that, because what you see in here in the picture is almost what I was seeing. I mean, it was pitch black outside.
Uh-huh.
Pitch black. All you could see was this object moving towards you.
Okay. Well, that would be kind of frightening to me a little bit, but
And there was a mist coming. It was like it was engulfed in this mist, and it like totally disappeared. And the young guy that was with me, he took some pictures too. He sent me the pictures, and he told me that the picture in question that we're going to look at was after it was passing over. And he said that he got a picture. You can kind of see what looks like a wing, maybe. I don't know. But this is what he sent me.
Yeah.
And he said that he had some good pictures, and he didn't know how to explain it. This is not what he's seen with his naked eye.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the same thing. I mean, it's pitch black outside.
Mhm.
All we see is, and the lights wasn't strobing. You know, our aircrafts, their landing lights and stuff strobe.
Yeah.
Flash. And once again, there was no sound. No jet propulsion.
Mhm.
No gas-powered motors. No whining sound of electric motors. It was just hovering over us with no sound. And
so did the aircraft stop? It was moving gradually and it stopped?
it very slowly kept going over us.
Okay.
So,
Now let me ask you this: could you have thrown a rock and pinged it off the side of it? How close was this thing from you?
I doubt it. I would say if not knowing the depth perception, at night your depth perception's off. You can't see anything. All you can see at night is movement.
True.
And you can't recognize shapes. In this, the only reason we're saying it was shaped like an aircraft carrier is because where the lights were located on it.
Yeah.
And it was way too big to be any type of known spacecraft that our military has. No, I couldn't have thrown a stone and pinged it. It was probably, I would say, 800 feet up. So if it was that low, that low to the ground, it would be around 800 feet. Now, I had read somewhere that down in Antarctica, in the waters, they find spacecrafts, or what they think are spacecrafts, buried in the ice that are could be the size of half the Waycross. So I'm not sure.
So cities.
Yeah. Spacecraft.
I think that's what the Nazis were looking for when they went down to Antarctica.
They did.
Yeah.
They have a base there.
Yes.
They did have a base there.
What's weird about that?
And then Russia got a base. The United States realized what was going on, and we've got a base there. So then we went into a joint effort because, this pertains to the world at this point. So scientists from all over the world go down there and study. What are they studying? Ice.
The thing about Antarctica that's weird, the part that's got 3 miles of ice on it is growing, and the ice on the other end is melting. Have you ever heard that?
No.
Yeah, that's what
interesting.
I think Linda Moulton Howe was talking about that.
I think there was even a movie made that kind of indicated that there was probably alien spacecrafts and stuff. There's been a lot of movies about Antarctica and aliens.
You know, Buzz Aldrin went there, and he left. He made him sick. They had to bring him back. He said that
The astronaut.
Yep.
Yeah, he said it was pure evil. That was that they had found there. He didn't say nothing else.
Yeah, I'm one of those lucky few that's had the experience of 2 UAPs, and it was probably late March of that year. I'm out on the front ramp. Jalen's getting on the bus. I always went outside, made sure he got on the bus. You know how kids are.
Right.
So I'm facing the same direction that the first UAP disappeared in, and out of the corner of my eye, I see something moving, and I catch just at the right time. I see what I call a vortex. It was real quick. It did a spin, and then it like imploded.
Yeah.
It like and was gone. And it was, when you see something like that, you sit there and you're like,
You question yourself.
Did I just see what I thought I saw?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was in the sky. It looked to be over toward Hacklebarney Road. Sort of say, maybe over top of it.
Yeah.
There's wooded area in between me and the road.
So was it around? Like you said, I think you already said this, but I'm gonna ask. You said it was around the same place where you saw the other sighting?
I was facing the same direction as the other sighting.
Okay.
Happened. Well, as it disappeared, the other sighting disappeared. I was facing the same direction. This happened off to the east of that. So it was real quick, but you could tell it was like a sideways tornado that just went into itself and disappeared.
Oh wow, that's
And yeah, I sat there and I remember I was like, I know what I just saw. This is crazy. Who in not in a lifetime,
Yeah.
but in a year, who experiences 2 UAPs?
Yeah.
And actually, there's 3 that I experienced that year because I forgot about the dry lightning. And evidently, this is a thing. Me and Jalen's coming up Yellow Bluff Road, coming to the house, and I thought I was down. And at this point, when you see things, you go to question your. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I know I didn't see that. There's not a cloud in the sky, no forecast of rain, and in the field, approximately 100 yards away, I see a lightning strike hit the ground.
like dust came up and stuff.
It just threw me out, and I looked, but it was almost like no dust come up. Yeah, it was little, and it was gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know I didn't see that. My mind is playing tricks on me.
Uh-huh.
And I said, Jalen, he goes, Daddy, you saw that too? And I said, you saw that? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I didn't know that lightning could strike without any clouds. So I went to reaching out all over the place, trying to get, I actually contacted through email scientists with NASA. And they explained that it's a phenomenon called dry lightning, and that it happened. So
I've never heard of that.
I had never heard of it either.
Yeah, I've heard of ball lightning.
Ball lightning, but this is dry lightning.
Yeah.
Nothing in the air. Kind of a cooler day. Nothing, no clouds in the air. Blue skies. Not the first, not even a little speck cloud.
Right.
Boom. Now it didn't make the crackling sound. It was just a flash of light. It hit the ground, and that's the reason I questioned myself. I was like, I didn't see that. I didn't see it. And I turned to Jalen, and I'm driving, and I said, Jalen, and he goes, he's looking at me, and he goes, you see that? And I said, you seen it too? And at that point, I realized that, what we saw was actually a phenomenon called dry lightning. Or that's what they're telling us.
Yeah.
Said it's common. Said it's
It ain't
common.
that common. I've never heard of it.
I had never in my life. I'm 52 years old. This probably happened when I was 48,
Yeah.
49 years old. So I never in my life experienced anything like that. So.
I've never heard anybody talk about dry lightning.
Right, lightning.
But you can't trust NASA or anyway.
Nah, yeah.
Well, Dad, you want to go ahead and tell us what your experience was?
Yeah, I can. It was around 2016, probably around November 2016. I was watching just some random UFO video on YouTube, and they were talking about you could go outside and just look up in the sky and tell them you showed herself to you, or just say it to yourself, just speak like I'm doing, or just think it. And I said, okay, I'll try that. So I done it 4 or 5 times, and probably in a couple of weeks, just every once in a while I'd walk out there, and I done it 4 or 5 times probably.
Yeah, you better not do that, Kevin. They're already over there at your house.
And didn't think nothing else about it, And then this was around November, and it was either late December of 2016 or January of 2017. We had a bunch of rain, and this was about, how far was that double wide from ours? About 50, 60 yards?
Yeah, it wasn't that far.
It wasn't more than 50 yards, I don't think.
Yeah.
And I walked by, we had a bunch of rain for about 2 weeks, off and on, but it was just about every day. And I walked by the front door, it was a glass door, storm door, and I seen the moon coming up, and I said, and it just made me stop and look at it because it looked a little bigger than it ought to, and it was cloudy. I like, just clouds around. And they started dissipating a little bit, as it's getting a little bit higher, and as the clouds start dissipating, I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing a spinning motion. I told my mom, she was sitting there watching television. I said, Mom, come look at this. I said, I'm looking at something that I thought was the moon, that it don't look like the moon. As the clouds dissipated, it was like a powdery or watery clockwise spin that was a pinkish and purplish. And it was just blending together as it spun. And then about 30 foot over from it, I see a dot come up, and it starts growing quick. And when it gets about this big, I can tell that it's the same as this other one. And within about, I'd say 45 seconds to a minute, it had got as big as the other one. And they're about maybe 30, 40 foot apart, and they start going together, and it gets real bright. The clouds dissipate, and it's about 40 foot above this double wide. And when they go together, it gets real bright and pops out into a triangle. There's a triangle sitting there. I can see a black line running through the middle, and I counted 10 bars running up and down.
Jesus.
And I told Mama, and the trailer was sitting here, and it was just like a third of the ways, about 40 foot above the trailer, just sitting there. It's this rectangle with yellow lights in it, bright lights. I told my mom, I said, I'll be right back. So I took off down the road, and I had to go around the curve. I mean, a minute and a half. I'm about 40 foot from this double wide trailer. And I see something out the corner of my eye. All my senses seem to be heightened or something. And I seen just something out the corner of my eye, and I looked over, and it was the moon coming up through the trees.
So it was moving?
No, it was sitting still, but I was watching it before I seen the moon. When I come around the corner, I was looking at it, and all I could see was that yellow front. I didn't see no sides or nothing else.
See, you saying it had a grid in it?
Yeah. And I was wanting to see if I could see anything inside it. I was going to get in front of the damn thing.
Yeah.
Like he's walking towards it.
Yeah.
The funny thing is,
I'm about 40 foot from it when I see the moon, and I look over.
I've seen this.
Yeah.
And I didn't think anything of it. Coming back from Augusta, you know my job.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of road trips. I have seen the grid in the sky and took a picture of it and sent it to Matt.
I'd like to find that picture.
I would like to. I don't know if I have that picture, but there was a grid in the sky, and he will testify that we talked about the grid in the sky.
Yeah. But when I looked over at the moon, I looked right back, and it was gone. But like you was talking about throwing a rock, I could have hit that son of a bitch. Excuse me, I could have hit it.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I could have hit that son of a bitch with a rock.
Yeah, I mean.
So, and then Michael drive, him and his wife were coming home. I had stepped back across the road, standing there thinking, what is happening to this thing? And they pull up, and he says, I told my wife there was somebody standing in our yard. I said, man, did y'all see any bright lights when y'all were coming up the road? He said, no, we didn't see nothing. I said, I just seen something over this trailer. I'm not going to say their name. I said, I just seen something over the trailer. And it just disappeared. It weren't a flying saucer.
Did you get any kind of message or anything? You said you were trying to communicate with these beings? Or
No, I just had a thought come in my head that it come from the moon. That's what popped in my head. I don't know why, but that's just what popped in my head. Like a week later, I'm sitting there, and it dawns on me. See, the thing, the first one, it was in clouds, and the clouds dissipated from around it. And just a week later, I'm thinking clouds wouldn't have been 40, maybe 60 foot off the ground. From the ground.
It wouldn't have been 60 foot off the
To
ground.
the bottom of that thing. I'd say it was 60 foot at the most. Just sitting there. It didn't move, it just disappeared. And when I got back to the house, I asked my mom because she was standing there. She said it looked like two eyes looking at you before it went together
Yeah.
and then popped out. But I asked her, she said it just disappeared. The thing, and I told him the other day, I said, you know, that thing might, it can still be sitting there as far as,
Yeah, we don't know.
yeah. I mean, it disappeared, so it could still be right there. And these kids that live in this trailer are straight A students. I mean, they were smart.
You think the aliens?
No, I just think, no, I think they're,
Yeah. Their brains are a little bit more developed than ours.
I think they're,
They're like star seeds or something like that.
Yeah.
And indigo children, they call them, or something like this nature.
well, I think they're upgrading
Yeah,
our DNA.
I've read a lot about that.
It could be. I'm thinking, like they were talking about in China, that they were working with kids, and they had a couple of girls that were able to make a flower open up and blossom with their minds, and they can make things levitate. The Chinese were working with their kids doing this.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, that's interesting. I told everybody if I'm permitted, I was going to try to get my vision story in. I call it a vision because I don't know what else to call it. I still remember every detail of it to this day. So that's why I say it's a vision. If it's something else, if it's an actual alien abduction,
of who?
me, myself.
That explains everything.
I know, right?
Yeah, you told me about this.
All right, so you want to hear the story?
Yeah.
All right, the story goes like this. It started, and we was all on the top of the roof of my mother's house down here. And we was all on this side of the roof. So the slope going towards that way, that direction. And for whatever reason, there was people lined up in a row to my right, and there was only one person on me. There might have been more than one over here, but I remember specifically this was my ex-girlfriend over here, and I didn't know about it was my ex-girlfriend. But anyway, there was people on my left and people on my right. It was all sitting on the house roof, and we seen a light come down, and I do remember it was a yellowish looking light. We didn't see the actual craft because it comes so fast. But we did see the light, and I specifically remember the light coming through the trees as it got into the tree line and in closer to the ground.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I think y'all had done seen it. It's the reason y'all was up there to start with.
Probably, because I think that the people were already up there. Some of the people were already there with us because everybody was on the roof, including people that don't even live around here, or they might live around here. I haven't met them yet, but anyway, everybody was on the roof. Okay, everybody was on the roof, and my mom and my stepdad was out in the yard, and I remember they was kind of walking around and kind of scanning and looking like, what is going on? And they saw the light too, and they said, and I remember Sammy said, what was that, or something of that to that nature, and I said, I was the only one apparently that knew what it was, because apparently I had seen this before, and it's somewhere back in a back dark memory of my mind, but I knew what it was, and I told them that we're about to be visited by some people that come from that craft. So we're standing on the roof, and my mom and Sammy are not in the yard anymore. I don't know where they're at. I don't know if they're up on the roof with us or not. But these two guys came by, these two alien creatures or beings or whatever you want to call them. I just call them people. But they came by, and they was making sure that, they like say we're in a line like this, guys. There were two of them. They would come to one of us at a time. And they was making sure that we was under the hypnosis, so that we wouldn't lash out or hurt them or something. Because they're a lot smaller than we are. So they're coming by, they're making sure we're under hypnosis and that we're not violent, acting or anything, no violent thoughts, because they can read your mind. And they told me that the doctor was coming by. So they was making sure that we was ready to see the doctor. And I was getting scared. I did not want to see the doctor. I was scared of the doctor for some reason. He was taller than these guys was. I don't remember them wearing any clothing. They may have been, but I don't remember. If they did, it must have matched the color of their skin, which is a pale gray or a pale bluish color. So they're coming by, and if they're touching you like on the shoulder. It's just a little light touch like this, but the touch isn't really doing anything other than a touch. So I see the doctor, he's making his way closer and closer to me, and I start getting more scared, and I start shutting down. I couldn't, I don't remember putting my hand over my eyes, but I remember shutting my eyes real tight. Like I didn't have the use to move my arms.
Yeah.
How long ago was this?
Oh shoot, I don't remember. I'm bad with the time frames. It was a year maybe ago, probably a little less.
We'll see that.
Hey. I'm sorry.
Go right ahead.
So, now for those of y'all that are tuning in to this podcast and don't know, David has a gift curse where
Yes.
he is visited by things and told stuff from beyond another realm. He's a medium. And you're visited by things all the time.
Yeah.
Why would this scare you?
It was the unknown. I didn't know. I've never had an encounter with this particular doctor, which I'm referring to as a doctor. I've never encountered this one.
Yeah.
Did he look the same as the others?
Well, I'm getting to that. So he's getting closer to me. And I shut down, and I feel a touch on my shoulder. And then when I felt that, a calmness came over me.
Yeah.
You know, and so I kind of started to peek a little, and then I was like, oh. I opened my eyes, I was like, he's not scared. One thing I do remember very distinctly is that they are not those gray-eyed, black-eyed looking creatures that we see on TV. They're not looking like that at all.
The big eyes.
They had the larger eyes, but they had pupils and irises just like we do. I think that the black thing are like sunglasses. I think they're sunglasses, but they're like contact lenses.
Yeah, because our sun's brighter than where they come from.
All right, so as this doctor touches me, and I open my eyes, I realized I'm not scared of him at all. I mean, what was I scared of? And he did have on different clothing, now that I'm remembering it. He did have on different clothing. I'm not sure if the first two guys had on clothes at all, but I want to say that again. If they did, it matched the color of their skin. It kind of blended together. But he had on a different uniform. So after that, it was like, I don't remember anything after the doctor seen me, but I do remember what he did, what kind of exam that he did. It was just a very basic looking in your ears and your eyes and looking in your mouth and your nose and stuff like that. I mean, that was about it. And so the next thing I remember is I'm in like this really big building from the inside. It was almost like a conference building. It's hard to explain. And you're up a little bit on a different level, but it's not like a very high. It's not like a 2-story mall. It's not that high.
Yeah.
It's just like maybe 6-8 foot off the ground, and it kind of gradually goes into the center of this thing, which there is. You got a question?
Yeah. So I just want to let the viewers know that you're talking about a vision.
We're gonna call it a vision / abduction, because I'll let you guys be the decider here if it was an abduction or not. But I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards it might have been an abduction. And the more you hear about it, the more you might lean that way as well.
Okay. Tell me more.
So I'm in this place, and I'm at the understanding, it's just a common understanding at this point, that some of the people around me are human, and some of the people around me are different species.
Yeah.
And not just like one other species, there are multiple different species.
Yeah.
And everybody's calm, there's no violence, there's nothing. There's hardly no noise in this place. There is some noise, but there's not a lot of noise. And I remember looking down at the center. Remember I said it kind of went down to the center?
Yeah.
And on the center of this thing was kind of a platform, like a pillow type platform. I don't remember how big it was diameter-wise, but it was pretty large. And there was 3 to 4 what I would refer to as female extraterrestrials. But they did not look like the first extraterrestrials. This was an entirely different species of extraterrestrials. I don't know what this will be called. We can look it up and find out. But these did not look nothing like the gray alien at all. These were bluish to purplish skinned, and they was about our height, if not a little taller. They might have been around 7 foot tall. They did not have hair, and they was extremely beautiful. They had larger eyes, and their eye colors were just gorgeous. And these had the feminine features.
Yeah.
And this what they was just kind of hanging out there. And I don't know why they was hanging out there.
How do you know they were female?
I'm assuming based off of their
Could they have been asexual?
It could have been. It's very possible. But the thing I decided, I said, I'm going to be slick here. I'm going to ask one of those female ones a question with my mind and see if they respond. So I picked one out, and I don't remember what I asked. Let me see if I remember what I asked. I don't remember what I asked. But I remember specifically, I didn't do this or nothing, but I focused on her, and I'll say her for the argument's sake. And I asked my question. It was a common question. And then she broke and looked straight at me, and she answered me back with her mind immediately. It was a simple yes. She said yes. It was a simple yes or no. And then after that, I was approached by a taller than me, I guess another being. And he was kind of an official type of being. He was saying, what I mean by official was he was like, okay, it's his job to come and find me and ask me something. You know, he takes orders from someone else. It's his job to come and do that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So what he did was he come to me and he said, basically told me something to the factor of that the elders wanted to see me. So we go into this room, and these are the male-looking ones. These don't look like the female ones. These have, they have the bone structure looks more masculine.
Yeah.
So,
But once again, they could have been asexual.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I didn't say, hey, look up there. There wasn't nothing like that.
Sure you did.
I mean, who knows? But no, they had this silver ball. It was like that color silver, but it was a ball about this size. Let's see, it was about this size, and they asked me to move it with my mind, and to my surprise, it moved extremely easy just by simply thinking, hey, move it. It went before you can almost get the thought out your head what you wanted it to do. It would move it. Float, levitate, it would do whatever you wanted. It would separate, come back. And then they had another little test. They wanted me to do something else with another object. It was some kind of longer tube-looking thing.
So, there's too much detail in your story for it to have been a dream.
A vision, right.
Yeah, there's too much detail.
That's why I was saying.
You remember too much. What day is, I can't remember who coined it, but it is said that if you have a dream and you remember it, it is a message, not a dream. You'll forget dreams. Right. You'll have dreams and you'll forget them. This is, I've had dreams and I remember bits and pieces of it, and then later on, you never remember that dream again. But you have remembered this.
Yeah, that was like mine.
In great detail. In great detail, you have remembered this.
Yeah.
So it's more of a message, or or it actually happened,
or it could have possibly happened.
So
like it happened.
It may have. I don't know at this point. I'll say this: if it did actually happen, it wasn't the first time that it has happened.
Yeah.
I'm just suppressing the memories for some reason.
They can do that.
For our viewers and listeners, this is the first time I'm hearing this story.
Right.
I mean, David's never told me this. I was thinking to start with, he had a dream, But the more he tells the story surrounding it, and with the detail, that's not a dream.
Yeah.
Well, there's a little more to it.
Dreams are a split second.
Right.
You can't, if you can remember a dream, you do something and you can't move. You want to, but you can't.
Right,
you can't move past what took place, and you can't go back.
Right.
There's no way of going back to sleep and going back into the dream. And then, in the morning, or when you wake up, if you don't write down what you dreamed, I mean, it's gone.
It's gone almost
And you
instantly.
remember too much detail about this for it to have been a dream.
Well, here's the interesting thing. What the elders were telling me were that they was in the process, like we was talking earlier, of evolving human beings.
Yeah.
And that was their job. So what they was telling me was that I was one of the more evolved ones, for whatever reason. Not genetically, obviously, but because I had that ability, that medium ability. And
Your vibration is different.
it may be.
Bringing good vibrations.
So what happened was they said that I could stay with them. I could stay and not come back. And if I did, I would be put through like a school and taught to enhance it more. And I chose not to stay. I chose to come back because of my daughter.
Yeah.
I said I can't leave her there by myself, because if I would have stayed, it'd have been like I just disappeared, and never heard from her again. So I chose to come back, and they said, okay, cool.
There's definitely a message with a vision, with a message that meant something to you.
Yeah.
Or like you said, it could have been an abduction.
Yeah.
But you go to looking at abduction, you had the will. They gave you free will to
Right, that's what I was
to
gonna
either
say.
stay or come back.
Right. I don't. That's why I say. That's why I'm hesitant of calling it an abduction, even if it was a real thing and I physically did go with them. I chose to go with them.
Yeah.
I could have said, "Hey, leave me alone" at any point, and I'd have just forgot about it all.
Yeah. That's pretty neat. Pretty neat story, dude.
It was definitely interesting.
I remember when I was a little kid, Dad used to take us outside. Back then, we didn't have all these street lights and stuff, and it was dark outside, but you could see every star in the sky. And he would point up and he would say, "Watch the sky, and you'll see a satellite passing over." And we would watch and watch and watch, and you'd see a speck way too high to be a plane.
Yeah.
And you'd see it moving over, and I was always like, "Well, Dad, why can we see it?" And he said, "Because up there they have, there's light that's reflecting. It's reflecting and giving us the appearance that it's lit up." So, but it was way too high up in the sky, and by definition, it's a UFO, because we didn't know this. He knew because he had read about it.
Yeah.
In Popular Mechanics.
Yeah.
That you could you could see the satellites passing over.
Yeah.
But he would take us out there and show us, and we seen all types of stuff. Showering of the stars that happens in late August, where it's just a whole bunch of meteors.
Yeah.
And you sit out there and watch meteors going all over the place.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, I don't know what the real name of it is. I just call it showering of the stars. So, but anyway, I would like for us to revisit UFOs and aliens, because I've heard stories.
Maybe we can get one to come on the show.
I've heard stories from my kin people about my granddaddy experiencing something. I want to get that story out there, and we just don't have time tonight.
Well, see, there's something about people with green eyes and RH negative blood that they're interested in.
Yeah.
Right? That's why I asked you about your eyes.
Well, I do know somebody that's got RH negative blood, and it would thrill me for that person to go up and be abducted.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Yeah.
It would make me the happiest man on earth.
Okay.
For this person with RH negative blood to be abducted by aliens and probably even experimented on. So,
There's a little city. I'm not sure what country it's in. but like 35 to 40% of the people in that little small village have RH negative blood. It's
All-
the highest.
RH negative blood is known as alien blood. For those, it's amazing that he brought it up because I had done a study on it a few years ago, and it is referred. No other people have RH negative blood. It's a small group of people, and they're thought to be of an alien race because they have no DNA trace to the original Eve.
Yeah.
Right.
My mother's mother had RH negative blood.
And you're a descendant, and you got RH negative.
Right.
Say, I don't know anybody in my family that has RH negative blood. We are going to end tonight's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I have enjoyed hearing the other stories and how they may relate to what I experienced.
Yeah.
So,
I want to say this one last thing. The one thing that caught my ear between both of y'all's stories is the yellow light.
I mean, I had no clue. I knew Stanley was coming on to tell, but I wasn't prepped.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, they all come in here kind of blind.
For those that don't know, I just got off of work and ran up here.
Yeah.
So I had no way of being prepped for tonight's show. Anyway,
All right.
I wish all y'all a good night and God bless.